I have here. One nominated by the people. For the people. Lest you want to put my job at stake.
Mr. Makutano, I see you are an idiot.
What? Mr. Ujumbe, you call me an idiot?
Yes, and I will call you a handling of bread.
Mr. Ujumbe, that statement is like a crow on top of a flying god.
Mr. Makutano,
Yes, Mr. Ujumbe.
remember, I am the one whose face was on all the ballot papers.
Ballot papers?
Yes, the ballot papers.
Mr. Ujumbe, I doubt the transparency and the authenticity of you being there. Are you sure you rightfully belong there? As you stand bold and assertive, addressing us without proper direction.
Mrs. Marino,
Yes.
betrayal. Why do you want to betray me? For the sake of thwarting my efforts?
Listen to yourself speak. Our voices have been muted.
Exactly.
We have been torn apart.
Yes.
We don't have the courage to defend and promote democracy and governance. Remember, a code of three strands is not to be torn apart. The Constitution is our shield and defender. Excuse me.
Whatever. Now, Mr. Makutano, you will have to dance to the tune of my music, or else there is going to be chaos. This village that you see is going to be on fire.
Mr. Ujumbe.
I will have to exercise the rights given to me by the oath that I took.
Mr. Ujumbe, the zeal, the passion, and the charisma lies in the interest of the people. Let democracy and power of the people to prevail. All may be your intention is to disrupt the peace of the people.
The people, the people, the people. What people are you talking about? They have no interest here. They have already mandated me with the responsibility of representing them. Now, first thing first, I will have to serve my interests and desires by the same powers bestowed upon me by them.
Mr. Ujumbe, a dog and a cat may play together, but it does not mean they are friends. A vulture hovers around in search of a carcass. In this case, you are the vulture and the people are the carcass. I am not giving you the document. I represent the voices of the people.
Once upon years, Mr. Makutano, and I see you are playing with the tail of a leopard. If you rattle a snake, it will bite you. Excuse me.
The end shall justify the means. I am Mr. Makutano, and my role is to amplify the voices of the youths and their interests. I represent the agent of change.
Ladies and gentlemen, digging and getting gold are two different things. Where did the rain start beating us? A foolish fly follows cops up to the grave. It has dawned on us. We have been used as a cannon fodder. We are in the dark, and like a firefly, our voices have been dimmed on and off. And when the dawn comes, we are irrelevant. Chapter 4 of the Kenyan Constitution stipulates that every Kenyan citizen has the right to access information.
Exactly, Jum.
Omolo?
Yes. However long a river is, it will never be used to take fire.
Omolo?
Yes.
What are you talking about? I don't understand you.
And like a dog, we have been eating our food.
Vomit? You can't be serious.
Back, strong with us.
Omolo,
Yes.
how dare you talk to me like that?
However needs you spread your bed, so much rely on it.
Omolo,
Yes.
what's the meaning of all this proverbial speech?
We have been pushed to the wall. We have been cornered. And our voices have been muted.
Perfectly well said. You are now talking.
Exactly.
It is high time we get out from our comfort zone and champion for our democratic rights. A barking dog seldom bites.
This is the exodus of our determination. Determination indeed. I have a deal.
A deal?
Yes, a deal. And who are you? I am Honorable Mr. Ujumbe Mapambano.
Honorable Mr. Ujumbe Mapambano.
Yes.
What brings you here?
I am in need of people to rally for votes for the coming elections.
Elections?
People to be on my side.
Tulisanwa.
People to be on my side. For when my enemies violate, they're ready to attack. Nikisema sika, kamata,
Atosabisa.
funta,
Atosabisa.
ua,
Atosabisa.
choma.
Right, officer.
Good. I see it flows and runs in your blood. I am running for a political seat. And with you on my side, I am sure to clinch it.
But I don't understand that. The only position I can understand is the president.
I didn't care about it. I only heard it all over the radio and on TV and even across social media platforms.
Look at you. Look at them. Fools. Yet you are here complaining that the voice of young people must be heard.
Did you call us fools?
Yes, I will call you again.
Do you want to use us as numbers?
With the numerical in numbers, strength and longevity, I will continue to use you to get what I want.
Oh, we are a community. Will we ever get what we want?
Remember, it is your responsibility. If you want to see the anus of a hen, you have to blow air towards it. Akili kichwani.
Yes. Akili kichwani. Reclaiming our spaces in the democratic process.
Yes, we have to occupy spaces as young people. And this is the document. The document? Yes. The document. The document. The document. And our future lies here.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Nataka sauti
Zetu zipaswe zipite hizi ceilings. Sauti zetu zisikike hadi kwa parliamentary sittings. Tuwe na rights ku question wakati hatujaona justice na wasapo. Sio tu each and every time wamesikia tukiwa question wana confuse na lalama. Na excuses za hawa vijana wataki kujituma. Huku kijikakamua utatumika na kudampiwa kama ganda la mua. Huyu mwananchi anapenda sana kulalamika. Huku kwa ofisi nitamwalika, nimpe zake za macho kufunika, lakini akiendelea hivi basi itabidi amenyamazishwa. Demokrasia, demokrasi. Kwa kusema kweli mara kadhaa mimi nimesoma tu kwa vitabu za historia. Je, huku kuna demokrasi? Take it. Huku kuna demokrasi? Excuse me. Do you feel like you're in a democratic country? Ama hutumika tu kama terminology kutupoesha njaa wakati wana travel na high class cars, kukesha kwa 5-star hotels, mamilioni ya pesa in their leisure budget, wakati huku mtaani matibabu ikata stand still. Oh, we are community and Amazon production.
Do you feel like we're in a democracy?
Feel like we're in a democracy? No. The question is that a very good group from Kisumu presented us today. They traveled overnight. I arrived here at 3 a.m. Didn't sleep well. I'm 6, but still presented a very, very powerful. Well, can you clap for them? Thank you. Thank you so much, Amazon, for that particular Wera Committee presentation. Jeff Chandler, is Jeff on? Jeff? Can we hear Jeff Chandler? Thank you, Jeff. Yes. Jeff, in 3 minutes, please. Jeff is a member of the network. He's giving us a very challenging thought. It has to stay in 3 minutes. So please proceed, and then we invite our speakers as we are getting closer to the close of the day. Jeff, please, is joining us from Zambia. Please, you are challenged.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeff Chandlavanda from Zambia, a student and a believer of democracy. Firstly, allow me to express how grateful and humbled I am to speak at this year's annual conference under the theme Youth Power for Inclusive Democracy, exploring new innovations in evolving civic and governance space here in Nairobi, the land of Kenya's founding father, Jomo Mzee Kenyatta. Let me recognize the presence of our guest of honor, Honorable Dr. Isaac Mwaula, Democracy Move founder, Wales Scott, Leicester Development co-founder, the organizing committee under the regional movement coordinator, Mr. Daniel Horo. And lastly, let me recognize the presence of everyone here today. The Democracy Moves annual conference would have not come at the right time than this time. Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 has witnessed and will witness more elections than any year in recent history. We have seen elections in India, South Africa, Senegal, and the European Union, just to mention a few. While on the other side, we have seen civil wars in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Sudan, and other parts of the world. We have also seen wars in Ukraine and Gaza. In all this, the youth, women, children, and other marginalized people are perishing at the expense of selfish and corrupt leaders who have no respect for humanity. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we gather here with so much hopes that this conference will give us an opportunity to deliberate issues of importance, deliberate issues of development, deliberate issues of progress to better our respective countries. Ladies and gentlemen, our coming here today is not by an accident, but it's a deliberate goal. Because within ourselves we believe in a world of peace and justice. We believe in a world of peace and justice, a world where our children, our grandchildren will live in harmony. So I call you out to speak and act throughout the conference. I have no doubt in my mind that young people will be at the center of protecting, defending, and championing democracy. Because democracy is the only tool that speaks for everyone, rich or poor. I call out every one of us from wherever we may be to rise up and be the face of democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say, Viva Democracy. Asante sana. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, for encouraging us. Big, of course. Democracy and for democracy. May I take this particular opportunity to, I have received an apology. Of course, that was expected from the government spokesperson. That was expected. So there was no worry. I was not even panicking because I knew that was expected. People were prepared, and I was afraid. Yeah, I was afraid. Honestly, my colleagues can bear you witness. We were afraid as well. Because our invitation came in way long before we could envision this particular conference and the unique context the country is facing right now. Alright? So we were between a rock and a hard place in deciding whether, what were the optics of him coming and him not coming. But all good is communicated a while ago, saying he's been held up in addressing with an emerging issue of a national concern. And we hope that we understand that the Honorable Isaac Mwaura conveys apology and has said that he is together. Let me clarify that before I call Scott to just give us, his speech and to invite us to this session. That he has inviting Honorable Isaac Mwaura is on very important thing, not because he's a government spokesperson. It is because Honorable Isaac Mwaura is a scholar, right? Do we know that? Yes, he is a scholar, and he is supported and has written and has spoken for democracy throughout. Now, what happens when people get to government, I don't know. I cannot purport to know. But throughout his presentation, Honorable Isaac Moro has been very keen in his presentation in the Senate, in the bills he has pushed through to Parliament are very progressive bills. So we had hoped that his presence would have given us an opportunity to understand and elaborate so much on the theme of the conference. That is why he was invited. May I also put it clear that this particular conference is always being held annually, as Scott will be giving us his speech, but it's translated in 3 important languages of the network. As we think, we are translating this conference in Spanish for colleagues in Latin America. We are also translating it in French for the Francophone countries from Africa, or maybe the rest of the world, and of course English. So as you see, those who are joining us are tuned from those 3 languages, either way, as they follow this particular conference here. Without further ado, I don't know if there is anyone who we haven't established the presence, but as we say, all of us are welcome to this particular session. We introduce our partners, and of course I invite you, because when Scott speaks, that is the end of it. You know, you don't speak after your boss. You know, you don't propose to speak after a speech has been given. So I will not speak later. But just to appreciate those who come and partners who joined us to this particular session, I invite you to look at the agenda. If you have time, because we committed ourselves to do some paperless work, as we also committing ourselves to try to deal with climate change and wastage. So for this particular conference, it is purely online. So all the sessions that you want to join tomorrow, including this one, we are inviting you to look at the agenda. They are there, the speakers are there, the descriptions are there. The conference room where they'll be held is already there. The speakers are there. So please do us a favor, that after this, please tune into look at the link, register yourself for the sessions that you think are important to you, so that you'll be able to benefit with your time that you're here for this conference. May I also say, because I've been asked about tomorrow, all right? So it's good to make it clear tomorrow. So like I've said, one of the reasons that we are here in this conference, because we set a date way, way long in February. We did not know that by this particular date, there's going to be Kenyans are going to be dissatisfied about what is happening in their country. Nobody knew this was coming. We just set the date in February, I think. Scott and Caleb, I think that was the time we set the date. So we didn't know that finance bill would be at this particular time. So we couldn't, because people have reached to us over the email asking about safety of the total shutdown. I think that is that it has been described that way, right? Tomorrow. And the people who are joining. And whether in this conference we are also taking a decision. A very difficult question, right? Whether we are taking a decision in this conference. So, colleagues, let me say that we acknowledge that there is a real challenge tomorrow. We do not know, and we hope that the government is trying as much as possible. And probably that is why Honorable Mora is not here, trying to address the issues of tomorrow. But we are putting on elaborate steps with the hotel to make sure that it is guaranteed that 100% of you being here, you are safe 100%. When you are within this compound, you are safe 100%. But then we also want to look at what if our colleagues who will be joining us tomorrow. So we urge you to come early tomorrow, for those who are not staying within the hotel, but we also make sure that we are organized with the hotel. It won't take us time to ask the hotel, maybe to organize some drop-off, right? If the situation, gets that way, which I don't think so, because the demonstration has remained peaceful, and has remained civil, and has remained as cordial as possible. So we hope that both government and demonstrators will play the game of freedom, democracy, but freedom to protest peacefully. My hope. Kenyans, my hope. My hope tomorrow. So that this particular session and people who are here are able to go back home safe just as the way they can. All right? On the finance bill. So Kenyans, this is a regional conference. All right? This is a regional conference. And this is international guests joining us. Some of them are not even understanding English. Some of them doesn't know even what is going on in Kenya. We understand the challenge we are facing in the realities. So if I would add, if Kenyans who are seated here would want to take a position, do it as, all right? Do it as Kenyans. You can invite your few people from the regional to back up with you because the challenges are real. I'm not saying I feel, and probably some of us would have been in the street if we are not for this particular conference here today. Huh? I was just saying it, I didn't know how serious it is. So some of us probably could have been, but because of the conference, so I'm saying that if you want, because it's your right, that is a right enshrined in the Constitution of Republic of Kenya, for you to demonstrate peacefully. So if you would want to present that, devise a mechanism of doing that without not interfering with the conference. Because again, the danger we don't want to risk is for us to go online. That we are here and organizing people to go on the street. That can happen, right? So that can happen. Because our conference is civic space. You really need to be very careful that we are teaching you about democracy and innovative civic space. So somebody somewhere can be very cheeky and just say, guys are organizing this thing at Best Western here. Somebody can say that. Also, if we are not careful, that is why we needed the government to know what we are doing. Right? So the government sent Honorable Maura in the capacity as the government of Kenya to represent the government. So if he has not made it to come, the government knows we are. The government knows we are. We are here and we are discussing something important on a regional importance. We are not organizing or other things. So those are the complexities that we are here as colleagues. Our safety is guaranteed. We have the freedom to protest and do what we want. We have the freedom of expression. But we also have an agenda to complete in the annual Democracy Moves conference for this year. If you need more clarification, see me privately so that we discuss this further. May I invite yes. Yeah, because I was calling if one is ready. I don't know whether our translations are okay. That can be translated. One is my colleague at the Latin America, just to introduce the team who are joining us from the Latin. Can we hear one? Just saying the good that we should be hearing the translator. Yeah. One please proceed.
Para mí es un honor estar acá junto a ustedes. It's an honor to be building a conference together. I want to have big talk to my brothers and sisters about living there in Kenya. I love to be there at that event. All of the institutions that have organized in work together a lot that is being able that is translator in both English and French. We are working till every people is empowered in every part. We have work and we have done our work. So bring is the then thank you Daniela Polo, seller for all of these assistance and all of these different women that have supported everything for this event. In this movement, in Latin America, we have to have some sessions in college, and then we look at the.
All right, let's try it one more time. How are you all doing?
Well.
All right. Can you all hear me online okay? Can they hear me online okay? Hopefully so. It is wonderful to be here in Kenya. As Daniel said, my name is Scott Warren. I live in the U.S., in Washington, D.C., and so it's very much an honor to be here
with you all in Kenya. As Daniel was saying, it's quite the special time to be here in Kenya. We didn't plan this knowing that would be the case, but I'm excited to learn from you all. Before I say more, I'm curious to learn a little bit more about who's in the room. So could you all raise your hand, or actually stand up, let's get some energy going. Stand up if you are from and live in Kenya. So all the Kenyans, please stand up. All right, so a lot of Kenyans here. All right, you guys can sit down. What about those from Uganda? So folks came all the way from Uganda. Do we have anyone from Tanzania? Yes. Yeah, we have Tanzania as well. Do we have any other folks from the US? So Sasha as well from Are there any other countries that I'm missing? Zambia, of course, yeah. And how about Zambia? So, we have Zimbabwe. Ah, stand up from Zimbabwe. South Africa, where do we have South Africa? Anyone else? I keep missing countries. Okay, now actually I want to go back to a question that was asked by our fantastic presenters from Kisumu as well. To be honest here. So please stand up if you are satisfied with the democracy that you are experiencing in your country right now. So no one stands up. All right. I'm not meaning to be standing. I'll sit down next time. But stand up if you are excited to fight for a better democracy in your own country. All right. So everybody stood up. I hope everyone stood up for that. If not, you're in the wrong conference. All right. So you can sit back down. So this organization, this movement was started. We started it during COVID in 2020 because we wanted to help bring young people like you all together because there's such power in solidarity to actually fight for a better democracy. Let me tell you a little bit about why I care about democracy itself, because it starts in this country. And so being in Kenya is exciting and personal for me. So I'm from the US, I grew up in the US, and then I started moving around when I was young. My dad joined the State Department. So I lived some in Latin America. Entonces para los en Latinoamérica vivían en la República Dominicana, Ecuador y Argentina por muchos años. So I lived in Latin America for many years. And then I came over to Kenya. And I lived in Kenya from 2000 to 2003. So some people might be younger, but does anyone remember what happened at the end of 2002 here? Yes. So what happened at the end of 2002? So Kibaki was elected. And so I had the opportunity, I was very young, I was in 10th grade, to observe. I went to Rongai. Does anyone know Rongai well? Anyone from Rongai? Yeah, there we go, from Rongai in Western Kenya. So I went to Rongai, and I had the opportunity to observe the elections. And for Kenyans, and you all know this, the 2002 election, so Moi was in office, and before that, Kenyatta, the first Kenyatta was in office, but democracy didn't really exist in this country. And so that was the first election where people felt like they had a real voice, and they felt like their vote could actually matter, right? And so throughout the day, I met Kenyans that were so excited to cast their vote, that were so excited to actually make a collective difference in their country's future. And what happened is Kibaki won. And everybody went to Uhuru Park, and there were hundreds of thousands of people, and they were all celebrating because people were so excited that Kibaki won. Now what happened 5 years later? There was another election. And that election did not go well, right? So I know that that's a dark moment in this country's history. But you had, over 1,000 people dying. You had violence in the streets. And I think for me that demonstrates how fragile democracy is, right? It's something that is not static. It's something that you have and can be taken away from you, right? And it's something that people have to continue to fight for. And so I think about those lessons a lot, and I saw this throughout the world. So I lived in Ecuador in 2005 when there was a coup. I spent time in Zimbabwe. It was Zimbabwe, the Zimbabweans here. In 2008, when there was a violent runoff election, Zimbabweans are still very much fighting for democracy too. And so throughout my life, I've seen people like you all that are not satisfied with the democracy they are facing, but are willing to do anything that they can to fight for that better democracy, right? Because that's what's needed. Now, what's powerful, and we didn't, again, as Daniel said, know this was happening, is what's happening in Kenya right now. So the fact that young people, the Gen Zers, you know, what's the story and the narrative been about young people in this country for a long time? That they were apathetic, that they weren't participating, that they weren't voting. This is the story that's often told of young people, right? That they don't care, that they're online, that they're not paying attention to what's going on. And what's happening in Kenya right now is that you all are turning that story upside down and demonstrating that young people are refusing to go along with the system as is, with leaders that have continued to perpetuate the status quo. So what's happening is that around the world, young people are very frustrated right now. They're not frustrated, at least I think, they're not frustrated with democracy, because democracy is a concept in which people have voice. They are frustrated with the democracy that they are experiencing, right? A democracy where leaders are telling them that they live in a democracy, but they don't actually feel that they can make a difference, right? A democracy where you have elections, but your voice doesn't actually matter, who you vote for doesn't actually lead to different outcomes. And so the question is what happens next? And it can be very frustrating, right? It can be very challenging to know, well, what should you actually do? And sometimes maybe the answer is, well, we've been fighting and fighting and fighting and nothing has come, and so maybe democracy doesn't work. And let me tell you, in my country, in the US, so I ran a civics education organization in the US for many years called Generation Citizen. It was all about engaging young people in the political process in the US. Because you don't really teach civics education anymore in a US context. And a lot of young people in the US are very frustrated right now too. It doesn't matter who they support, it doesn't matter who they vote for, but they're frustrated that they haven't necessarily seen improvements in their lives, that it's hard for young people to get jobs, that the leaders running for president are quite old in the US, right? And so it doesn't seem that young people are represented in the United States. I think that oftentimes that's true. So the question is, and what hopefully we'll talk about tonight over dinner and tomorrow at this conference is what can you actually do about it? And what I will say is that what I think is really, really important is that you all work together across borders, right? The issues that we're facing right now in democracy are not just in one country, but they are global. It's the same challenges, right? It's the status quo, it's leaders that have been in office too long, it's young people not being represented in government, it's people trying to maintain power rather than give it up. And so something that we've tried to do with Democracy Moves is to allow you all to learn from each other, right? To have solidarity with each other, because the challenges and struggles that you're facing in Kenya are similar. They're not the same, but they're similar to those that are being faced in Uganda, similar to those that are being faced in Zimbabwe and Tanzania, even the US. We have so much to learn from all of you. And what I think is very, very interesting and exciting about this moment is I'm excited to see what happens from this action in Kenya that's happening right now, right? What is the government going to do? So they didn't want to face you all tonight, so that's one thing. But are they actually going to change policy? And what are young people going to do, right? I was talking to some folks yesterday. So if we think about the Arab Spring, so we think about the Arab Spring from about 15 years ago, there are a lot of protests in the streets. There's a lot of change that happened right away, but then it sort of stopped. The protest stopped, and there wasn't action that happened afterwards. And so protests are exciting, and they're powerful, but people need to continue to organize after the fact, right? Democracy is messy, and democracy takes a lot of time. And so young people need to be willing to work for that. But that's something that can be challenging. But are there going to be protests that start in other African countries? I'm curious what those in Uganda are thinking about what's happening in Kenya right now, what those in Zimbabwe are thinking about what's happening in Kenya right now. From those outside Nairobi, what you are thinking about what's happening right now. And so I'm hopeful that today and tomorrow can be about us learning from each other. I want to learn from you all. Again, I come from the US, but we have a lot of challenges with democracy right now. But more so, I'm hopeful that you all connect with each other, right? So we'll have these formal sessions, but learn from each other. Ask what's working, what's not working. How do you all consider democracy to be happening in your own countries? Because this is a year, 2024, in which there are billions of people around the world that are going to participate in elections. This is a mega election year, right? So even so far, we just had the elections in South Africa, right? Which I think young people are very frustrated about the elections in South Africa. We've had elections in Mexico. We've had elections that just occurred in the European Parliament and will continue to occur in Europe. You're going to have elections occurring throughout Africa, Nigeria, and the like. And so this is a year in which the future of democracy is very much on the ballot, and a lot of people are underestimating young people. They're thinking that young people won't show up. They're thinking that young people are too occupied in their phones and not actually participating. And so it's going to be really important that you all start to build that other narrative. So with that being said, again, I hope that we use this as a time to continue to organize amongst ourselves. We've done, I think, 2 of these conferences before, 3 of these conferences before, and they've all been virtual. And we have folks virtually here, and we are very grateful that you all are joining us. But the ability to be in person, and a huge thank you to Daniel, to Caleb, to Vasily, to Wandi, for organizing this. It's been a tremendous amount of work. A huge thank you to all the partners who have flown in to make this happen, and a huge thank you to all of you. I know some of you are in Nairobi, but some of you took long bus rides, some of you took long train rides. It means a lot that you all are here, and we're excited for the convening to come. So with that, Daniel, do you want to close this out? But again, I'm incredibly excited to be here, and thanks to you all for coming.
Thank you so much for the remarks. Hi. I don't understand what the person is. Uganda. That's a Uganda. All right. Glad to have them join us. So, colleagues, as we wind up the session, I would also just urge you to still register on the session. For those who are joining us tomorrow, one, make sure that we have a registration form. So make sure that you are registered through a participant list, a registration form. Different organizations have different registration forms for their, those who they're able to facilitate and support here. So please grab your organization representative. So NDI, IFES Association, we have our partners who has session tomorrow. That should be NDI, IFES, Amazon. Just check on the website and get to know exactly how the program. Some are virtual and some are hybrid, some are in person. So of your interest, any organization. So may I take this particular moment to thank us, because I thought we were going until 7, but it seems we've ended up early. And to wish you well, those of us who staying around, we we had to announce we have dinner. So those of us who are leaving, because maybe some of us are going far from the other side of the city, and joining us tomorrow for a fully packed session tomorrow, we wish you very well as you proceed with your session. All right. So
Where's dinner?
yeah,
Where's dinner?
the dinner is at the pool. So if you're joining us for the dinner, please have your time because we release you to rest. Some of you haven't rested in the course. Some of you traveled overnight as Scott said, either through flight or through the bus. So you can catch a breather as we start to serve our dinner at 7. All right. So thank you and see you. I wish you well as you go. You can network and say hi to whoever you want to say hi to. And be brave.
Oh my God, I have noticed that we have a good photo. Why am I not being reminded? Thank you, Nelly, for reminding. So,
Maybe I get to do
We all need to take a photo here. If the organization has a banner, please bring it forward. If you are able to come up with a banner, just bring it forward. Who is organizing this photo? Edwin. Oh, you're networking, man. But can we network after the podium? Can we just take it as it is that we network to different destinations? Our colleagues on the Zoom, please, we see you tomorrow.